17th chapter. And the 17th chapter is quite an elaborate chapter. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has assimilated all Navdeep Leela in this chapter. Actually, if we see, the Navdeep Leela is also divided into two sections. The first section is prior to Lord Chaitanya visited Gaya, before his initiation. So prominence of his pastimes prior to Gaya is his scholarship pastimes as Nimai Pandit. And after coming back from Gaya, he exhibits the pastime of performing Sankirtan in Navdeep. So this is the continuation of performing Sankirtan pastimes. So in the next few verses, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is summarizing 16 incidents. We have discussed few, but there are many more to come. In very, very synopsis way, in a very brief way, he is just mentioning some of the pastimes. Like we saw, he mentioned the pastime of a Brahmana who came and wanted to be in the Kirtan party, but he was not allowed the access, so he cursed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then we see Mukundatta, Lord Chaitanya's batchmate, his classmate. Mahaprabhu showed anger because he was going and mixing with the impersonalists, the Mayavadis. And he also showed such rage and anger against Advaita Acharya, when Advaita Acharya propounded the philosophy of Yoga Vasishtha. So Mahaprabhu cannot tolerate, but we also see Mahaprabhu's appreciation for other of his associates, like Murari Gupta. And now in today's verse, although we covered this verse yesterday, but I will continue with this verse. This is the 70th verse, that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after his Sankirtan Vijay over Chand Kazi, he goes to the house of Kolavich Sridhar, Vishram Sthali. Sridhare Lava Patre Kaila Jalapan Samasta Bhaktera Dila Ishtavaradan. Once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of Sridhar after Kirtan and drank water from his damaged iron pot. Then he bestowed his benedictions upon all the devotees according to their desires. This is very important. Mahaprabhu bestowed his benedictions upon all the devotees according to our desires. So it depends what reciprocation we will receive according to what we are desiring from the Lord. If the desire is na dhanam, na janam, na sundari, then the Lord has to give himself. But if we desire other things, then we will not have the Supreme Lord himself. So after the mass Nagar Sankirtan in protest against the magistrate Chand Kazi, the Kazi was converted to a devotee. Then Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu returned with his Sankirtan party to the house of Sridhar. This Sridhar Kolavich house is just on the back side. It is almost adjacent to the temple of Lord Jagannath where we went on the first day. You remember on the first day, we went to Simantadeep, where there was very, very captivating Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. That day was Shivaratri, the day when we went there. So, but because it was dark, so we could not go. Normally, we always go there because we stay in Simantadeep. When we are in the Parikrama, we normally stay in Simantadeep one day. And we spend a lot of time there. And there is always drama. And believe me, all the sannyasis perform drama. One becomes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu's role is played normally by Jayapataka Swami Maharaj when Maharaj's health was in perfect position. And Kuladhar Shrivach role is played by some other sannyasis. So all the sannyasis, that is the elite drama which is performed by the sannyasis, the spiritual masters. They perform the roles. And lots of bananas are distributed to all the Parikrama party members. A lot of Sankirtan happens. So all the devotees rested there for some time and drank water from Sridhar's damaged iron pot. The Lord accepted the water because the pot belonged to a devotee. So what is so very extraordinary? When Krishna can accept banana peels from Vidurani, what is the exception that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu drank from the iron pot or from the broken pot? Chand Kadi, the place there is rested is still situated on the northeastern side of Mayapur, and it is known as Kirtan Vishram Sthan, the resting place of the Kirtan parties. So it is appropriate that the parikrama stops there. So next time we are doing parikrama, of course our parikrama will not be the kind of parikrama we did this time. It was, what should I say? It was a crash course. You know what is a crash course? Like a crash course. We did a crash parikrama. But next time when we do parikrama, we will spend more time. We will spend some time there at this Kirtan Vishram Sthala. Haridasa Thakurera Karila Prasad Acharya Sthane Matara Khandila Parad. After this incident, the Lord blessed Haridas Thakur and vanquished the offense of his mother at the home of Advaita Acharya. That we have seen when he performs the Mahaprakash Lila. Okay, Prabhupada mentions this. On the Mahaprakash day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Haridas Thakur and informed him that he was none other than the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. So this is very distinctive that Haridas Thakur is a Samavesh. He is a Samavesh, he is Lord Brahma, because Brahma had asked for a birth which is low, so that he is free from the pride of his high position. Janma Aishwarya Suta Shibhi Edamana Madhapuman. Kunti Devi says that these four things are very big impediments in the process of surrendering. What it is? First is Janma. If one gets a high birth, if one is born in a royal family or in an aristocratic family or a family of opulent people, so he considers himself higher than others. Then Aishwarya. Aishwarya means opulence. And Shruta means he is learned. He is very knowledgeable. So he considers others to be low. Of course, he will consider himself high. And Shribhir means he is beautiful. If he is having outstanding beauty. Ed Mana Madha Puman. So these four aspects are the cause of inflicting pride in a conditioned soul. Because the conditioned soul, because of these material possessions, he feels himself higher, or he estimates him surrender. So Brahmaji took a very humble position. He prayed to Lord Krishna that I want to become a blade of grass in Vrajbhumi. And his aspiration was fulfilled. Like, see, you see the last verse Prabhupada is saying here, the verse is saying that he bestowed his benedictions upon all the devotees according to their desires. Desires and aspirations are the same things. So Brahma's desires was fulfilled. But because he was taking birth in such a way as Haridas Thakur, Ramacharya Haridas Thakur, Prahlad Maharaj also wanted to avail this opportunity. So he also entered the body of Haridas Thakur. So they are both. In Chaitanya Lila, this is nothing new. There are at least many incidents. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is Ek Atma Dui Dehadhari. Radha and Krishna combined together. Who is Advaita Acharya? Who is Advaita Acharya? Which two personalities have combined to be in the form of Advaita Acharya? Devashish Prabhu, आपको ध्यान है?
Prabhuji, Mahavishnu.
And Mahavishnu is one. Who is the other Purushottam Prabhu?
Prabhu, I missed it. Can you please let me know?
Of course, we will let you know.
Prabhu, call आ गया था एक तो मिस हो गया.
अच्छा, नो प्रॉब्लम. मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ अद्वैताचार्य जी के इनकारनेशन में, एज अद्वैताचार्य देयर आर टू personalities in the one form. So who are the two personalities? One, Devashi is told, is Mahavishnu. Who is the other personality? Why I am deliberating it? Because here we are reading that Haridas Thakur is an incarnation of Prahlad. But we already know that Haridas Thakur is the incarnation of Brahma. So how it is written as Prahlad here? Dipankar, आप बताइए.
Prabhuji is incarnation of Sadashiva and Mahavishnu.
Yes, Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. Yes. And in Ramanand Roy, there are four personalities in one. Five rather, not four, five. Five in one. Like you people traveled in RSC, na? What to do? If the seats are limited and the persons are more, then what to do? In one seat, in one berth, more than one has to accommodate. Krishna Leela, none of them wanted to miss the Gauri Leela. But there were not so many vacancies. There were not so many berths available. So they fitted into one. Many fitted into one. Yes, that is true. I'm not giving my own concocted view. I've heard it. I've heard it and I have heard it and I have read it so many places. Anyway, so we'll proceed because there is a lot to know from Gaur Leela. So he is none other than the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. He is the combined incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj because of his compassion. Prahlad Maharaj is known for his compassion. And he is Haridas Thakur, who is known for his tolerance and forbearance. When Vishnu took sannyas, Sachi Mata thought that Advaitacharya has persuaded him to do so. So we all know this. We discussed this past time. Therefore, she accused Advaitacharya of this, which won an offense at his lotus feet. Later, Lord Chaitanya induced his mother to take the dust of Advaitacharya's lotus feet, and thus her Vaishnava aparadh was nullified. All of it happened at Shiva Sangam. Bhaktagane Prabhu Nama Mahima Kahila Suniya Paduyataha Arthavad Kaila. Once when the Lord explained the glories of the holy name to the devotees, here the word is Suniya Paduya. Paduya is the students. Mahaprabhu was always accompanied. He was always surrounded by his thousands of students. So the Lord is explaining the glories of the holy name to the students. Some ordinary students who heard him fashioned their own interpretation. Suniya Paduya Taha Arthvad Kaila. Vada means that there is some interpretation, some own concoction. Nirvisheshvad, Shunyavad. These are all Vad. Vad means that there is difference and there is some conflict. Name stuti vada suni prabhur hoila dukha sabare nishidela iharna dekhila mukha. When the student interpreted the glories of the holy name as a prayer of exaggeration. Exaggeration means that overestimation. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was reciting the glories of the holy name, that what is the potency and power of the holy name. So some of the students who did not have such faith, although they were students of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they interpreted that Mahaprabhu is overestimating or he is over glorifying. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt greatly unhappy. Immediately warned everyone not to see the student's face henceforth. So Mahaprabhu became very upset, unhappy, because Then he thought that is one of the reasons of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. Because the students were not giving him the respect which was due to him. Prabhupada will explain the purport. Once Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained the glories of transcendental potency of the Lord's holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one unfortunate student said that such glorification of the holy name was an exaggeration in the Shastras to induce people to take it. That is why there is one offense. What is the offense? What is the offense which relates to this episode? Out of the 10 offense in chanting the holy name, which offense relates to the incident that we are discussing? Yes, Sonika?
प्रभु जी अश्रद्धालु व्यक्तियों को हरिनाम की महिमा बतानी.
But very dangerous because they are not having faith. And what is the danger? The danger is that they will blaspheme. And because if they blaspheme, अगर वो निंदा करेंगे तो क्या होगा? उनका और पतन हो जाएगा. पहले ही श्रद्धा नहीं है. और अगर फिर भी वो निंदा करते हैं या भर्त्सना करेंगे, अपराध कर देंगे नाम के प्रति, तो फिर नाम लेने के लिए उनके पास स्वीकृति कैसे आएगी? So we have to be very, very particular. If we new people we meet, we should not try to convince him that just by taking one time, if you chant the name of Krishna, all your sins will be gone. जैसे बोला, अच्छा मैंने तो कृष्णा बोल दिया, मैं पाप से मुक्त हो गया क्या? Of course, one can be free from the sin, but he has to take that Shuddha now. That purity is not there. Shraddha is not there. So how will it work? So this one student, it is being particularly mentioned here that this one student, sorry. In this way, the student interpreted the glories of the holy name. This is called Arthavad. It is one of the 10 offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. That is another offense. To give some mundane interpretation. Bhagwan नाम में अर्थवाद का आरोप लगाना. Arthavad means to give some other meaning than the actual meaning. It is also one of the 10 offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name of the Lord. There are many kinds of offenses, but the offense known as Namaprad, an offense at the lotus feet of the holy name, is extremely dangerous. The Lord therefore warned everyone not to see the face of the offender. So we see how strict is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he is most magnanimous, we saw in the case of Gopal Chapel, he said that I will not leave you or I will not relieve you. And here Mahaprabhu is so unhappy that he is saying that not only he will not see the face of that student, he is forbidding all other students also. The Lord immediately took bath in the Ganges with all his cloths on to teach everyone to avoid such a Namaprad. The holy name is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abhinitvam Nama Namina. There is no difference between the person God and his holy name. This is the absolute position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is very advanced stage. This is the stage when one is free from all kinds of sins and aparadh. And if he has come to the position of Nishtha and Ruchi, or even Asakti, then this platform comes. Then one can see that there is no difference between the Supreme Lord and his name. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. That is that stage. The stage of Nishtha. Therefore, one who distinguishes between the Lord and his name is called a Pashandi. So commonly we do that. Or non-believers, an atheistic demon. Glorification of the holy name is glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should never attempt to distinguish between the Lord and his name or interpret the glories of the holy name as mere exaggeration. So Mahaprabhu, he took bath in the Ganges along with his clothes. Why? Because it was such a big offense. Sagane sachele giya kaila ganga snan bhakti ramahimata karila vyakhyan. Without removing his garment, Lord Chaitanya took bath in the Ganges with his companions. There he explained the glories of devotional service. Jnana karma yoga dharme nahi Krishna vas hetu eka prema bhakti ras. By following the path of speculative philosophical knowledge, nasteva, fruitive activities, karma, nasteva, or mystic yoga to control the senses, nasteva. One cannot satisfy Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Then, what to do? Unalloyed devotional love for Krishna is the only cause for the Lord's satisfaction. Na sadhyati mam yogo, na sankhyam dharma udhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yatha bhakti mamuta. This is Krishna speaking in the 11th canto. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna said, my dear Uddhav, neither through Ashtanga Yoga, the mystic yoga system to control the senses and the mind, nor through impersonal monism, that is Swadhyaya or study of Vedas, or an analytical study of the absolute truth, nor through the study of the Vedas, nor through austerities, charity, or acceptance of sannyas can one satisfy me, as much as by developing unalloyed devotional service unto me. That is why Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma seme yukta tamo mata. So this is the mata of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should not be unmatta to have any other mata. That is why Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishne Parato Swatova. So this mati, our mati should be aligned according to the mata. Mata means the conclusion or the verdict of the Supreme Lord. So I remember when we were doing Bhakti Shastri, so there were two monitors in our class. So among the students also they make monitor. One of the coordinator was Amog Prabhu, and he was taking my test. So I told him, this is the opinion of Krishna which values, others are all useless. Krishna says, Samay yukta tamamata. This is the valid opinion. All other opinions have no value. All other aspects of study of Shastras, Vedas, the performing of austerities, giving charity, everything is in a line to come to this point that we are subservient to the Supreme Lord. And by performing loving devotional service, in one stroke we surpass all. So very important. What is the purpose of all of it? To come to this platform of accepting our subsistence and our subordinate position. Karmis, Jnanis, Yogis, Tapasvis, the students of Vedic literature who do not have Krishna consciousness, simply beat on the wish and do not get any final profit because they have no clear knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know that empty husk. If someone beats the empty husk, what does he get? The grain is not there. Nor do they have faith in approaching him by discharging devotional service. Although everywhere such services is repeatedly emphasized, as it is in this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-20. The Bhagavad Gita 18:55 also declares, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschashmi tatvata. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. Also very prominent verse. in the 11th chapter. This is the 11th canto in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is the 54th verse. Anyone remembers that verse? 11th chapter, 54th verse. Very, very clear. Very with conviction, Krishna makes everything very clear in that verse. Anyone remembers that verse? I quote that verse. I have quoted that verse many, many times. One of my very yes, Gulamani Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Bhaktya tu ananya sakya aham eva vidhu arjuna drashtatum
Yatum means to know. Yes. Next is drishtum. Yatum drishtum cha tatvena pravishtum cha parantapa. How Krishna can be known? Bhaktya tu ananya shakya aham evam vidhu arjuna. That is the only way. Hare nam eva kevalam. So in this way we see that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is to establish this truth, this tattva. One can understand this Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And how does devotional service begin? By chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If one is not chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he is not at the platform of performing devotional service. If one wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must take to the path of devotional service and not waste time in profitless philosophical speculations, fruitive activities, mystic yoga practices, or severe austerities and penance. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 12.5, the Lord says, Klesho adhikaras tesham avyakt asakta chetasam. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. Klesha, adhika. People who are attached to the impersonal feature of the Lord are obliged to take great trouble, yet nevertheless they cannot understand the supreme truth, as explained in Bhagavatam 1-11. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwaniti Shabdate. Unless one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of both Brahman and Paramatma, one is still in darkness about the absolute truth. So what all this discourse is? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is enlightening मुरारी के कहे तुम्हें कृष्ण वास कैला सुनिया मुरारी श्लोका कहते लगिला. Lord Chaitanya then praised Murari Gupta, saying, "You have satisfied Lord Krishna." Hearing this, Murari Gupta quoted a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Kvaham daridra papiyan kva Krishna Śrī Caitanya Brahma bandhuriti smaham bahubhyam parirambita. Very beautiful verse. Kvaham daridra papiyan kva Krishna Śrī Caitanya. This verse is originally spoken by Sudama Vipra. When he is returning, after meeting Krishna, when he is returning back, then he is contemplating that what is his position? Kvaham daridra papiyam. Where am I? In this very poverty-stricken, all emaciated, just a lump of bones, not even having anything to offer to Krishna, or not even having a, wholeness on the body. And Kwa Krishna Śrī Caitanya. And where is Krishna? He is the king. He is the Śrī Caitanya. Śrī is the goddess of fortune. Let us read this verse. Since I am but a poor, sinful Brahma Bandhu, he is not considering himself even as Brahman. He is considering himself as Brahma Bandhu. You remember? We discussed Brahma Bandhu. And we is also Bhakta Bandhu. You remember what is Bhakta Bandhu? One who is not a devotee actually. not Brahmanically qualified, although born in a Brahmana family. And you, Lord Krishna, are the shelter of the goddess of fortune. It is simply wonderful, my dear Lord Krishna, that you have embraced me with your arms. How much gratitude is there in the heart of Sudama Vipra for Krishna. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:81-16 spoken by Sudama Vipra in the presence of Lord Shri Krishna. This and the previous verse quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam clearly indicate that although Krishna is so great, that it is not possible for anyone to satisfy him. He exhibits his greatness by being personally satisfied, even with one who is unqualified from so many angles of vision. Sudama Vipra was born in a family of Brahmanas, and he was a learned scholar and a class friend of Krishna. You see, on one side, Krishna's class friend, Sudama Vipra, how much Krishna respected him and how much Krishna accepted him. Krishna ran from the inner quarters of his palace to go and meet and welcome Sudama. But there is another friendship of the schools and the class, which is there in Mahabharata. You know the two personalities? Yes, Sonika?
Prabhuji, Dronacharya and father of Drupad.
Drupad, very good. So when Dronacharya, he is also a Brahmana, and Drupada also is the king. But when Dronacharya approached Drupad, Drupad said, what kind of friendship are you talking about? How can we be friends? Where are you? What is your position? You are a beggar and I am a king. Friendship is between two people who have something in common. So what kind of friendship? But we see Krishna. Here Krishna, he is so much inclined to respect and give all of his love and affection to his batchmate Sudama Vipra. And Vipra is considering himself unfit. Yet he considers himself unfit to be strictly called a Brahmana. He called himself a Brahma Bandhu, meaning one born in the Brahmana family, but not Brahmanically qualified. Because of his great respect for Brahmanas, however, Krishna embraced Sudama Vipra. Although he was not a regular Brahmana, but a Brahma Bandhu or a friend of Brahmana family. Murari Gupta could not be called even a Brahma Bandhu because he was born of a Vaidya family and according to the social structure was therefore considered a Shudra. But Krishna bestowed special mercy upon Murari Gupta because he was a beloved devotee of the Lord. As stated by Śrī Caitanya-Mahaprabhu, the purport of Sri Bhakti Sansarji Thakur elaborate discussion on this subject is that no qualification in this material world can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yet everything becomes successful simply through development of devotional service to the Lord. The members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness cannot even call themselves Brahma Bandhus. See Prabhupada's humility. Therefore, our only means for satisfying Krishna is to pursue the injunction of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who says, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh amare agya guru hoya taro desh. Whomever you meet, instruct him on the teachings of Krishna. In this way, on my order, become a spiritual master and deliver the people of this country. Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya Leela, 7th chapter, Payar number 128. Simply trying to follow the orders of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, we speak to the people of the world about Bhagavad Gita as it is. This will make us qualified to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Prabhupada's summarization. So in common people, we don't speak about Caitanya-caritāmṛta. For mass of men, we even don't talk Srimad Bhagavatam. For common people, what we do? We do Sankirtan and we distribute prasad. And if he is a little intelligent person, then we discuss the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. We speak to the people of the world about Bhagavad Gita. as it is. Prabhupada is mentioning, not from any other Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita as it is. This will make us qualified to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we repeat and if we propagate what Krishna has spoken in Bhagavad Gita, this will satisfy the Lord the most. एक दिन प्रभु सब भक्त गणे लाया संकीर्तन करी वैश्य श्रम युक्त होया. One day the Lord performed Sankirtan with all his devotees, and when they were greatly fatigued, they sat down. Another pastime is coming, the place we visited. Ek amra brij prabhu anganero pila tatashana janmila vraksha bhadite lagila. So Mahāprabhu and his associates were performing Kirtan, Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan. And after performing Nagar Sankirtan, they felt little exhausted, they felt a little fatigued. And to satisfy them all, what the Lord did, the Lord then sowed a mango seed in the yard. The yard means the backyard. And immediately the seed fructified into a tree and began to grow. So as soon as Mahāprabhu planted the seed, immediately that tree manifested. Dekhite dekhite vriksha hoila falita pakila anek fal sabaye vishmita. So just in a matter, as people looked on, the tree became fully grown. Not only fully grown, hoila falita, with fruits that were fully ripened. Thus everyone was struck with wonder. What is this place? We went to this place. And in which deep is this? Yes, Ganesh Prabhu, spontaneous your hand went up. Yes, Amra Ghat. And which deep? Which island? Let him try. Yes, Ganesh. That is a difficult question. Which deep is this? Can you name all the 9 islands in the right sequence? Bolo, bolo.
Sequence
क्या याद है? याद नहीं, सब भूल गया. Okay, which deep was that? Manish Prabhu?
Prabhuji, yeah, yes, Prabhuji. It is in Godrum only.
It is in Godrum only, right. Sonika, you have some other ideas?
Prabhuji, I thought it was in Madhya Dweep.
When we are going to Madhyadip, it is, no, it is not in Madhyadip, it is in Godrum. Madhyadip began from when we went to that Pushkar and Naimisharanya and then to Hamsavahan. So those, you see your guidebook, na? You see your guidebook. That is why I told everyone to take a Parikrama guide. Because many times we will be bewildered, we will be confused. Next time when we go, we will play the quiz also. We used to play quiz. Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj used to ask us question in Simantadip when he used to stay. And I remember once our team from Delhi, I was also in that. We came second. First was always the Mayapuri students. No one could compete with them. And what I did once, I stole all the questions so that next year we will become first. I have that with me. I have the full booklet of questions of quizzes, so that I will use for all of you. But that next year never happened. Then I could not participate. One cannot cheat with the Supreme Lord. It is just not possible. But I have that question bank with me on Navdeep Mandal Parikrama. So we remember there was great fun and everyone participated, and it was very serious affair. It was not a joking affair. And every team was backing up his own city or his own center to somehow win. But 3 years consecutively, we lost to the Mayapuri students. Okay. So as people looked on, the tree became fully grown with fruits that were fully ripened. Thus everyone was struck with wonder. Shatadui phala Prabhu shigra padaila prakshalan kari Krishna bhoga lagaila. Very beautiful. Shata means 100 and dui means 2. So Shatadui means 200. The Lord immediately picked about 200 fruits, and after washing them, he offered them to Krishna to eat. Rakt pita varna nahi asti val kala eka janer pita bhare khaila ek phala. The fruits were all red and yellow. Rakt pita varna. Just imagine the mango. The seed is sown by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and fully blossomed, ripened red and yellow mangoes. And in that mango, there is no seed inside. Not only the seed is not there, there is no skin outside. What is there? There is only the pulp, not totapuri. Which pulp? Even much more than Alfonso. How many of you have tasted Alfonso? When I first went to Mumbai, my father told me, when you are coming back, don't come without bringing Alfonso. But when I tasted, I found no taste. Nothing, much ado about nothing. You have heard this? Much ado about nothing. For me, Banarsi Am was the best. Langada. It was very tasty, very delicious. But just imagine what will be the taste of the mango which has no seed, no skin. Let us see how fortunate are Mahaprabhu's associates. And eating one fruit would immediately fill a man's belly. Ek janera peta means the belly, bhare khaila ek phala. They had just one fruit to eat, and that fruit would fully satisfy them. In India, a mango is considered best when it is red and yellow. Its seed is very small. Its skin is very thin. And it is so palatable that even if a person eats one fruit, he will be satisfied. The mango is considered the king of all fruits. देखिया संतुष्ट होइला सचिरानंदन सबा के खायो लागे करिया भक्षण. Seeing the qualities of the mangoes, the Lord was greatly satisfied. After eating first, he fed all other devotees. I told you about the mango pastimes of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. Anyone remembers? On his disappearance, we had very long sessions on His Holiness glorification of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, almost for 1 month. So I recited, Pradeep. Where are you, Pradeep? What happened? Electricity failure. Do you remember the mango pastime? No one remembers the mango pastime of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. So all these Mayapuri resident seniors, every day during the midday, they would have mango feast. But it was not open to everyone. It was select club. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj was new, but he was being invited to come. And by Bhavanand Maharaj, there were 2 GBCs at that time. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj and Bhavanand Swami Maharaj. And Bhavanand Swami Maharaj used to invite him to come. So a few days he came and later he stopped coming. So Bhavanand Maharaj asked him, why you are not coming? Don't you like mangoes? So Bhakti Charu Maharaj was very honest. He said, I do like mangoes. But I think of the day when you stop inviting me. Then I might not like you. So I thought before that day comes, let me stop coming, so that I may never dislike you. Got the feel? Very deep, very, very deep. Mango is one fruit. No one says no to mango. Asti balkalanahi amrita rasamaya eka phala khaila rasa udare puroya. The fruit had no seeds or skins. It was filled with only juice and pulp. They were full of nectarine juice and were so sweet that a man would be fully satisfied by eating one only. So when we go, so that rasa is always there. Is Navdeep Mandal, there is full of rasa. Many devotees, some devotees came today, some are going to come tomorrow. Now our temple brahmacharis are returning. They are still on train today. Most of them are in train today. They will all return tomorrow. So this is some of the devotees, some of the elderly devotees, some senior devotees, they are having 25th year of Navdeep Mandal Parikrama, non-stop every year. Why? Because every year they get something more relishable, something more delectable. They get a higher taste. They don't want to give it up. Ei mata pratidina phale bara mase Vaishnava khaina phala prabhura ullase. In this way, fruits grow on the tree every day. Every day, 200 very ripened mangoes were coming. Throughout the to eat them, and the Lord's great satisfaction. Anna lok nahi jane vina bhakta gana. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying that these are confidential pastimes of the son of Sachi. Other than devotees, no one knows of this incident. Others, they will be very skeptical. They will not even believe it. Non-devotees, see, Prabhupada is saying this. Non-devotees cannot believe this incident. Yet the place where the tree grew still exists in Mayapur. It is called the Amra Ghata or Am Ghata. Ei mata baro masa kirtan avasane Amra Mahotsava Prabhu kare dina dine. In this way, the Lord performs Sankirtan every day, and at the end of Sankirtan, there was a mango eating festival every day for 12 months. On principle, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would distribute prasadam at the end of Kirtan performance. Similarly, the members of Krishna consciousness movement must, Prabhupada is saying, distribute some prasad to the audience after performing Kirtan. So one program of ISKCON is always fixed. That after having any program, the final program is of prasadam program. And that program never fails or flops, is prasad distribution. So whenever, and I'll share with you, if you distribute prasad, you will see, you will never ever in your life have any scarcity. Never ever. Because this is empowered by Lord Chaitanya himself. So never ever think that how much will be spent, how will I arrange, or how will I manage. Whenever there is an opportunity, if you conduct a program, there should be some prasad distribution. And as far as possible, the best, without any compromise. Kirtan karite Prabhu aila mega ghana apan ichhaye kaila mega nivarana. Once while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performing Kirtan, clouds assembled in the sky, and the Lord by his own will immediately stopped them from pouring rain. So this place is called Mega Shora. When they were going on Kirtan, so the clouds they surrounded the sky and it became pitch dark. And it seemed as if it is going to rain very, very heavily. And what did Mahaprabhu do? He looked at the sky. And just by his glance, the movements of the clouds was dispersed. Not the clouds dispersed. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that once when Lord Chaitanya was performing Sankirtan a short way from a village, some clouds appeared overhead. By the supreme will of the Lord, the clouds were asked to disperse, and they did. Because of this incident, that place is known as Megharachora. Since the course of the Ganges has now changed, the village is named as Belapukuriya. Where it is, we will go next time. We did not go this time because we were late. Belapukuriya is a place where there is a very beautiful deity of Madan Gopal. That is the native place of Śrī Nilambar Chakravarti. Who is Nilambar Chakravarti? Who is Nilambar Chakravarti? माननीय माता जी, आप बताइए।
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, याद नहीं आ रहा है प्रभु जी।
ये भूलने वाली बात नहीं है। तो कई भक्तों ने हाथ उठाए लेकिन कम ही नहीं उठाए। जिन्होंने हाथ नहीं उठाए मैं उन्हीं से पूछूंगा। प्रियंका जी, आप बताइए। Who is Nilambar Chakravarti?
And the father of Sachi Devi.
He is the father of Sachi Devi. He is the one who named the Lord as Vishwambhar. So his native place is Belpukuriya, or it is called Belpukur. There is the Pukur there, a pond, and there are very beautiful Madan Gopal deities. I wanted to go there, but because of paucity of time, which was formerly situated in a different place called Taranavas, has now become known as Megharachora. The Madhya Khand of Srila Lochan Das Thakur Chaitanya Mangal also relates that once at the end of the day, when evening clouds assembled overhead and thundering threateningly, all the Vaishnavas were very much afraid. But the Lord took his kartalas in his hand and personally began chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, looking upward the sky as if to direct the demigods in the higher planets. Thus all the assembled clouds dispersed and the sky became clear. With the moon rising, the Lord began dancing very happily with his jubilant and satisfied devotees. Hare Krishna. So this is the rasa. Are you tasting this mango which has no seed, no skin? This is the mango of Gaur-lila. Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to say something? Some contribution, some question, some inquiry? Oh no, it should not be one-sided affair. Bodhayanta parasparam. That spirit should be there. Yes, Dipankar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in one of the verse we are discussing that Lord Krishna's mercy is only possible when one get the one is in loving devotional service, and others like Jnana Karma Yoga, they are not able to get the mercy. And it was also mentioned that even the sannyasi is also not able to get. So means how it is.
You see, Krishna is fully independent. He is Swarata. He cannot be forced or he cannot be purchased. Of course, he can be purchased by the love of his devotees, but not otherwise. So he is himself revealing this. That what is the best way to please him? The best way to please him is to perform loving devotional service. So Prabhupada quoted from the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, That in all other paths there is a lot of trouble. Klesho adhikarastesham avyakta asakta chetasam. And there is bhaktya mam abhijanati. So that is the principle of this age. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam. Neither by any process of fruitive activity, nor by philosophical speculation, nor by any yogic process. It includes all. The Supreme Lord is himself very clearly mentioning this. He is establishing that what is the way to know him. So what we have to do. And Acharyas are commenting, what is there for us left to do? I'm asking you, Dipankar.
Yes, Prabhuji, actually I'm not able to hear clearly. Some
What?
problem. Yes.
Like you were studying in IARI, you have a syllabus, now you have an academic syllabus. You have a curriculum. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Yeah. If you say, I will study other books, those which are outside the curriculum, then no one is stopping you. But if you want to get success in your PhD, if you don't study the books which are there in your curriculum, what will be the result?
Won't pass, Prabhuji.
Krishna is saying, all others, the significance is not there because none of them, the dependence is there on Krishna. Please try to understand. They are all independent endeavors. In loving devotional service, we are dependent on Krishna's mercy. And that makes devotional service very special. We depend on Krishna and we also serve Krishna. So there is a reciprocation. There is some relationship which is being cultivated. And Krishna is personal God. He is not impersonal. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti Shabdate. To the extent one is fostering relationship with Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. Simple example. If your cook is every day preparing very nicely for you and is serving you very nicely, and one day he asks that, Prabhu, I need 500 rupees, can you give me? Can you say no to him? Huh? In fact, you will ask him, what can I do for you? But we don't perform devotional service so that we want something from the Supreme Lord. But this is the only way that the soul, the self can be satisfied. Why the soul can be satisfied? Because Krishna is satisfied. This is what the verse is speaking. You look at the verse again. Because that is the only way Krishna is satisfied. And Jiva, being the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, can only be satisfied when the Supreme Lord is satisfied. Sabe pumsa paro bhaktir. What is it? Sabe pumsa paro dharmo yado bhakti radhokshate ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The devotional service, it satisfies the soul. Can we not see in such yatras? What is the purpose of taking in such yatras? Is to see, to have a first-hand experience of what is spiritual life and what is spiritual world. Okay. So very simple. That is why this episode came. That those who are non-devotees means that they are still stuck with their own reasoning, with their own understanding. They cannot advance. So devotee means if the Supreme Lord is speaking, if the acharyas are speaking, if the seniors are speaking, superiors are speaking, he accepts. And he advances. Okay, I'll stop here because it is getting late. Thank you very much for tolerating me and allowing me a chance. Because of all of you, this Gaur Purnima will be very special. That every day we are getting the nectar, the rasa of that sweet mango which has been planted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without the seed, without the skill. And one is sufficient to satisfy us forever. Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta की जय, श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, उपस्थित सभी भक्तवृंद